Welcome back to the Lakers Takes podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia, and this is episode 3. Today, we are going to briefly go over the final 2 preseason games the Lakers played. We're going to preview the entire regular season, which starts on Tuesday, and we're going to look ahead and preview those upcoming games. The NBA season's here, y'all. Let's get it started. All right, so we're going to really quickly go through those preseason games. I know I've heard from every player, I've heard from every fan, these games don't matter. So we're going to go through them as quickly as possible. They are now closer and closer to being really irrelevant because we're about to play regular season games. So I'm not going to bore you too much with it. I know you're here because you're hyped and pumped about the new season, and so am I. So we're going to really quickly go through it because I still think some of the things matter, because these games were games where for large portions of the game, the Lakers legitimately tried. There was no debate. There was no argument. You saw the Lakers coming out with the best lineups they currently have available with the players that are actually healthy. And we saw Russ, we saw AD, we saw LeBron play significant minutes together, trying to work it out. And we saw a preview of kind of what the team's going to look like, barring those couple players that are questionable. Like, can Malik Monk come back in time? Players like that. But other than that, this is the team, y'all. This is the team playing serious minutes. AD gave you 30 minutes. Russ gave you 28 minutes. LeBron gave you 26 minutes. So that's pretty realistic to what you're going to get. And against the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers lost. They still lost 111-99. Now, they did sit their core players late in the fourth, so take that for what you want, but they did try legitimately early on in the game, and even then it was up and down. They looked good in the first quarter, not so good in the second and the third quarter, and then the fourth, like I said, it kind of got away from them. But I think there were some positives and definitely some negatives. Russ had a really rough game. He had a lot of turnovers. He didn't look comfortable at all. 3 for 9 shooting. He had 10 rebounds, which was good, but he had a good amount of turnovers. He had another 5 turnover night. He just didn't look comfortable out there at all. LeBron looked like LeBron. He seemed ready. He seemed ready to go. He was attacking. He was aggressive. He was playing well. Same with AD. I didn't feel like them individually had bad games. I felt like the team as a whole just felt, let's just say, dysfunctional. That's a little extreme, but the chemistry between LeBron, AD, and Russ just really wasn't there. And you saw it for pockets, you saw it for moments, but holistically, it just wasn't too good of a game from the three. And you could tell they looked like 3 players who haven't played together significant amount of time because they just haven't. They've been working hard in training camp. I'm not saying they haven't been trying to get it together, but it still just kind of looked rough. So that's kind of where things looked from the core and from Russ as well. All right, so some positives. Austin Reeves, again, he continues to shine in this preseason. He continues to shine every opportunity he gets, and the game against Golden State Warriors was no exception. He had 10 points. He was 2 for 4 from the 3-point range, 3 from 6 from the field. Overall, he was a really good positive. He was a really good player. Every time he comes out there, it feels like he's making the right plays. He's trying really hard. He's got a decent handle. I'm kind of surprised with his handles. He's able to kind of protect the ball and drive and create a little bit. He knows how to dish out to the open players. It seems like he's always at least generally making the right choice and making the right decision. And the few times he deviated, it was kind of split. A few times he deviated and kind of took a shot when maybe it wasn't time and he hit it. And there's a couple times where, that went the other way. But overall, I think everyone's been impressed, being that he's an undrafted rookie and seeing him, playing 20 minutes, having double-digit points, and being a positive for the team, for a team that's trying to win a championship. It's really tough for a rookie to get rotation minutes in that kind of scenario, but it looks like, there's a good chance that's going to happen for Austin Reeves. So he was one of the positives on this night that, was kind of a mixed night given, how the big 3 played. All right, and now the final preseason game was the Lakers against the Sacramento Kings. Whenever you're having a rough time, usually playing the Sacramento Kings is the remedy you need. And for the Lakers, that was still kind of true, but also not, because ultimately they lost 116-112, and they went officially 0-6. Let the narratives begin. The Lakers are terrible. They're 0-6. The preseason doesn't matter unless you're the Lakers. I don't know if you know, but they are officially disqualified from the Larry O'Brien Trophy now. It's over, y'all. The experiment with Russ it was a failure. The Lakers definitely tried all 6 games with all their stars and lost every must-win game this preseason had. So obviously I'm being snarky. Again, how ridiculous is this? These are just games to kind of get your legs under you, and you want to look good, especially when the team is trying legitimately, especially with their big 3. So I'm not saying that the preseason doesn't show some problems, because it does. But let's not pretend they're in a 6-game losing streak where LeBron, AD, and Russ, were playing 30 plus minutes a night. That's not what happened. They played twice in that kind of range, and they didn't really play in the fourth quarter, as a trio for a significant amount of time trying to win any of these games. If these were games where they, the regular season games, they wouldn't have gotten taken out like in the fifth, sixth, fourth minute of the fourth quarter in close matchups. So again, you got to keep context matters, and I know for the Lakers haters, context does not matter unless the context makes the Lakers look bad. But I'm assuming anyone listening to a Lakers Takes podcast is trying to get informed information on the Lakers. And that informed information is, yes, 0-6 looks bad. Yes, the team had many, many not great moments in the preseason. But again, they're figuring it out. And they have looked better now that they had another game. There was more chatter about Westbrook and how he's been playing. And he came out here in this game, and right away he was aggressive. He went right to the basket, scored immediately, started rocking the baby. He had his swagger, as Frank Vogel likes to say, with him. He was on, maybe not 10, but he was on 7 or 8, real strong, giving you that Westbrook energy that he can give you, where he decides, hey, I'm going to the rim, and it doesn't matter who doesn't like that. Forget the spacing. I'm going to go to the hoop and I'm going to score. And he was doing a lot of that. So he had a much better game. He had 18 points. His turnovers went down a little bit. He only had 3. And he just looked a little bit more comfortable. And that's what you want. Just better improvement. He looked better with the group together. LeBron was amazing. 30 points, 12 for 20, 2 from 5 from 3. 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and I try not to just say stats because anyone can read a stat sheet, but really it was just he's ready, like he's totally good, and that's kind of what he meant when he said that, hey, like I'm not worried about this preseason games, I don't care, because he knows he's ready. My rebuttal is your teammates are not ready to play with you, so it still needs to matter because they're not ready, and I know you're gonna play well, and this game's a perfect example. 30 points, right? 6 rebounds, 6 assists. We still lost, so it's more than just is LeBron ready to play? He's ready to play, but it's about getting this group together to play at their best and to compete with some of these teams that are definitely going to be, coming at their heads, trying to beat this, this trio, beat the Lakers, that kind of thing. AD kind of had a more mediocre game. He did not shoot well. He did not play well. He did get his rebounds, so he was out there fighting and hustling for boards. It just didn't look like he ever really got in a groove. He didn't get into a rhythm. He settled for some difficult runners, and they didn't hit. So sometimes that makes you look even worse from his perspective because he takes some funny, baby giraffe shots sometimes. And when they go in, it's like, oh, he's just unbeatable. And then when he misses them, you're like, why did you even take that shot? That was a horrible shot. And then you missed it. And you fell on the floor. Like, what's going on? So he had one of those games. But again, not too worried. AD has really been, I think, a shining star in this preseason. He played, I believe, in almost every game. I think he played in 5 of the 6 games. He played in the very first game. He's shown that, hey, I'm ready. And I heard everyone's noise. And I'm out here to prove that, I am that guy. Like he said when he scored the game winner against Denver in the playoffs during the bubble season. I'm that guy. I'm going to be that guy this year. I'm fully ready. I had a whole off season to prepare, and I'm good to go. Even though this game against the Kings, he didn't look that good, I think holistically, you got to be pretty happy with Anthony Davis's performance. Bazemore had an okay game here in this game as well. Again, I think he's there more for his defense, and you're just hoping he's not much of a knucklehead. On offense, he made a few silly turnovers. He missed a few open shots. Not really what you want to see. I've kind of already accepted the fate that Bazemore's going to start on the Lakers, and he will be the starter for at least the first 20 games or so, and we'll see if someone kind of takes that spot from him. So he's a good defensive player. Again, it is what it is. He's a good defensive player. I expect him to start, and hopefully he doesn't have too many glaring mistakes on the offensive side of the ball. DeAndre Jordan had a bit of a better game. He had 12 points, 6 from 7, so he's shooting at a high percentage. He's kind of only taking shots and dunks and close baskets that he knows he can convert on, which is good. Again, defensively, it looks really rough sometimes. I was never a fan of the DeAndre Jordan sighting, so I'm not surprised it hasn't been, wonderful yet, even though, again, it's just preseason. But we'll just see. I'm just hoping we can get a good 8, 10, 12 minutes. I mean, we're going to play him. That's clear. Whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, he's going to be in the rotation to kind of eat up some of those regular season center minutes. I just hope they're bearable. That's really all I'm hoping for in the meantime. And Melo, it looks good on paper, 15 points. Again, the defense is really concerning for me. I know Melo can shoot. I know Melo can space the floor. He can get his own bucket. He doesn't need much help to get a basket. That's great. But defensively, it just... I don't know if it's wants, I don't know if it's desire, I don't know if it's just inability to defend at that kind of level, but it's just not there. I'm seeing teams already targeting him, even in the preseason, bringing him off of pick and roll, switching onto him, attacking the basket when he's guarding them. It's just really difficult, and I'll be curious to see how it works during the regular season. But I'm a real big Melo fan. I've always been a really big Melo fan. I like his game. He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch play basketball. But it's not fun when the other team has the ball and he is just getting cooked individually. So I hope that they can kind of find a way around that, or he can get just a little bit better. I'm not expecting him to be a lockdown defender, be someone he never was. I just want him to be a little bit better than, hey, they're targeting you like every time. I don't want him to be that bad. So hopefully that's better. We'll see. Overall, Dwight Howard as well had a pretty good preseason. This game, again, not really that good. He had 5 points, 7 rebounds, which is pretty solid. But overall, I've been very happy with Dwight Howard. He seems excited. He seems happy to be here. He's energetic. He's giving the energy off the bench. He's attacking the rim. He's protecting the rim. He's blocking shots. He's having fun with the fans. He loves being a Laker. It's great to see. I never wanted him gone, so I'm really happy he's back. And yeah, I have no complaints. I know there's going to be some games. He's a knucklehead. I know there's going to be some games where he fouls out early or has to get taken out early because of that. I understand what the Dwight Howard experience is going to be, and I'm all for it. I'm signed in. I know the good. I know the bad, and I'm opting into the Dwight Howard experience. Let's do it because I think overall the positives outweigh the negatives. All right, let's get into it. The regular season, now the preseason's over. It's done. It was good. It was bad. Whatever. It doesn't matter because as soon as Tuesday evening is over, all anyone's going to talk about is what happened in Game 1 of the regular season, and all anyone's going to talk about is how the regular season has gone. So let's go into it. Let's get into it. On my YouTube channel, I just dropped a video where I predicted every single game on the Lakers schedule. So that was insane. I predicted every single game, and I have the total here. Let me go ahead and reach for it. I don't even remember my total because I was just kind of going off of every game and marking them down. I got 48 and 34. So I have the Lakers going 48 and 34 at the end of the regular season. That's what I have. Now, if you're mad right now, if you're like, what the heck? What's this guy talking about? Trust me, I was mad too. I did not like it. I was like, what? 48? I'm thinking 52, 53, 50 at least. 48, that puts them borderline in the play-in. But, when I honestly assess their schedule and what it looks like and predicting the wins and losses, that's what I came up with. That was my honest prediction. And, it's a bit scary, but again, this team has a lot of work to do. I don't think that means they're not going to win the championship or anything like that. I still think they're going to be a really good team. Maybe they'll be like one of those late Cleveland teams that ends up as the 4th or 5th seed, but you don't want to play them because they got LeBron James on the roster. And maybe that's going to happen here with the Lakers, where they'll have, 48 wins, 50 wins, 51 wins, not at the top of the Western Conference, but they've maybe really gelled together late, and you're like, oh man, they're so good. I don't want to play that team, in any scenario. So I think that's very much possibility for the Lakers this season. To me, with the Lakers, it's really going to come down to a couple things. One, we'll know within, I think, the first 10, 20 games kind of where they're at in terms of chemistry and ability. We've seen some bad data and very little good data, but some good data in the preseason. So we'll see what it looks like in the regular season, and we'll see how long. They've all been mentioning it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. We need time to get together. We need time to work on it. How bad is it going to be while they work on it? Can they get some wins? Can they beat up on some of the bad teams? Or will it really be a struggle? Will it be a sub 500 team after 20 games? Because they're really struggling getting it together and figuring out where everyone belongs and what's the best way to optimize the talent. And again, when you do that for 10, 20, 30 games, that has a consequence on your record. So your record might look worse than what it actually, what your play actually is at the time of the playoffs, because it's not a good representation of where you're at now. It's just adding all the games. And when I add up all the games, that's the record I came to. 48 and 34. So let me know in the comments below. I definitely think without doing that, hard numbers, I'd probably say I think you can shoot them in for 50. I think that's generally safe. I think Vegas has them at 51.5, so they're around there. But hey, I'm going to go with my number. I'm going to go with my gut. That's what I predicted. If you want to watch that video, I go in depth on all the games and update the entire record month to month and do the whole first quarter, half, all that kind of stuff in there. So I'm going to leave that there. If you want to watch it, you can. I think it's a pretty good video. It's pretty fun going through the entire schedule. But for right now, I'm just going to say that it's 48-34. That's my Lakers season prediction. And If you're mad about it, don't worry, because I am too, and I'm hoping they do better than that. All right, so looking into the week, again, this is a weekly podcast, so the episodes drop Monday morning. The Lakers Takes podcast comes out, and we talk about all the games that happened prior to that Monday and all the games that are going to happen right before that Monday. So thinking about that, I'm going to include the upcoming Sunday game on this little rundown of the games that are coming up this week. So let's get into it. So first game of the regular season for the Lakers is on Tuesday, October 19th against the Golden State Warriors. It's at 7 p.m. PT. It's on TNT. It's part of their doubleheader opening up the season. So it should be really easy to know how to watch it, where to watch it, and check your local listings for your time if you're not in the West Coast, Best Coast. So that game's going to be exciting. Again, I already predicted they're going to lose, but I'm hoping they win. I think it would be great for them to win. I definitely don't want to hear all the Twitter trolls talking like the season's over, but hey, that's part of it. It's an 82-game season. We have to keep that in mind. But that's the very first game. It's on Tuesday on TNT against Golden State in LA at Staples Center. After that, they have a game on Friday against the Phoenix Suns. Again, that's a rematch of their first round matchup. That's going to also be nationally televised. It's on ESPN. A lot of Lakers games, I think almost half of them are on national TV, on TNT, on ESPN, on ABC, and on NBA TV. So they're going to have a lot of representation, a lot of coverage nationally, and these two games are a perfect example of that. Back-to-back nationally televised games on Tuesday against Golden State and on Friday against the Phoenix Suns. And then on Sunday, the 24th, they're going to play against Memphis, again at Staples Center. So they're going to start with the little home stretch here. That's pretty nice. Hopefully that means they can get into a good groove here. And that's going to be a Sunday game at 6:30 p.m. I'm glad it's a little bit later. The Lakers are known for having those early matinees on Sunday, and those games always are bad. They always lose. Something weird always happens. So I'm glad they're playing at 6:30 p.m. so they can have kind of a normal Sunday game, because those games kind of go bad. So those are the games coming up this week. They have 3 games. We'll see where the Lakers are after that. So after those games, that next Monday, the next episode of the Lakers Takes Pod will drop. We'll recap those games, and I'm not sure what the bigger picture conversation will be. Again, for these podcasts, for those who are new, we recap the games that happened this past week. Then we talk, after we go in depth into each game, we talk about kind of a bigger picture idea. Like today, we had the conversation on the schedule, the entire schedule, and kind of what the numbers were and how I felt about it. And then we have the previews of the upcoming games. So I'm not sure what the big topic thing will be for in the next pod. It'll probably be something to do with what we see, what we watch. Maybe something kind of really stands out, something's really highlighted. So let me know in the comments below. Let me know on my Twitter, at Lakers Takes on Twitter, if there's a topic that kind of comes up, if there's something that you're really interested in. I'm open to calling an audible and maybe going with a listener kind of direction for the big topic, the topic besides just here's a recap of these games, here's a preview of these games. If not, of course, we're going to watch the Lakers play a few games, and maybe that'll even be enough to give us a different perspective on the team and give us a bigger issue at hand that we want to address. But I'm just so excited that the Lakers season has started. I can't wait. I'm so much looking forward to Tuesday's game against the Golden State Warriors, and I'm so grateful and thankful that you're here with me on this journey, on this podcast. This podcast is just starting, and as you know, it's the only Lakers podcast, so I'm going to get plenty of traffic, and there's no need for me to worry about, an inflated market, oversaturated market here. As you know, there's plenty of great Lakers podcasts. That's why it's hard to grow one, but I'm out here doing it, and I'm dedicated. I haven't missed a week since I've started, and I'm not going to miss a week unless, it's really my reasoning for it, some kind of vacation, some kind of holiday break or something like that. So I'm going to be really consistent. I've been consistent so far. I think I've demonstrated that, and I'd love to hear from you what you like about the podcast, what can change. I'm going to also get some guests in here, just not right now, but I'm going to plan on getting some that we can get some longer, closer to 1 hour episodes when I have a guest. So I'm about to start reaching out to some people and try to organize some of those things. So that's coming. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the Lakers season, and I can't wait to talk to all of you about it in upcoming episodes. But for this episode, we're going to wrap it up here. Let's see if the Lakers can get off to a good start during the first week of the regular season, and go ahead, make sure you're watching on Tuesday, because it's going to be a great game, a Cali Classic against Golden State. So thanks again for watching. My name is Edwin Garcia, and go Lakers!